Eco Red.
Radical Radio Collective.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Eco Radio, Australia's longest running peace and environment radio show. Definitely. We've fact-checked it. It's all true. We're taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week, middle of the month airwaves. My name is Dave. My pronouns are he, him.
My name is Zack. My pronouns are they, he.
And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians on the country in which we broadcast. We're located in the city Mangangin on Turrbal Yoga and Yugambeh land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Cubby Cubby and Jinnabarra country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quandamooka people, and down south we reach the Commonwealth, Nagarrawal, Mununjali, Wanjerabara and Yugambeh countries. There is no Crown land. Thank you to No Idea for all the idea, kind of stepping on our turf with the science, spider science, considering we have an in-house etymologist.
I mean, spiders aren't insects, so technically I don't specialise.
Are they not?
No.
What are they?
Arachnids.
It's close enough for me, a non-scientist.
I mean, I think technically things like shrimp are more closely related to insects than...
But you hate the ocean.
I do hate the ocean. Yeah, but they're technically more closely related to insects than spiders are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you eat a shrimp, a prawn, you're eating the insect of the ocean.
I'd say that insects are the crustaceans of the land.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Flipping it on its head. Do you mean that because there's more ocean than there is land?
No, because insects would have evolved from crustaceans rather than crustaceans evolving from insects.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not like the whale where it left the ocean, became a mammal, then went back into the ocean.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Why would they do that? That's so dumb to me.
It's pretty cool.
I can't stand it. Why would you evolve to live in the ocean if you can't breathe water?
Because there's more there.
It's just... I hate the idea of it. The same goes with turtles. I can't stand the idea of it.
Why?
Just evolving to live back in water when you can't breathe like everything around you. It's just such an inconvenience. It's so dumb to me. Anyway, I know that's not how evolution works, but I find it infuriating nonetheless.
It was a choice. Well, today on the show we're talking about more ocean stuff. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking to Brett Lewis about reef restoration. Brett has developed a sustainable mesh technology designed to stabilise coral reefs and promote new growth. So maybe Peter, our friendly neighbourhood marine biologist, would like to stick around to listen to that. And as always, stick around for community radio. We do this for the community, and we love it.
We do. You can hear all my opinions on bad evolutionary traits.
Yeah,
such as living in the ocean.
What's your worst evolutionary trait?
I've got to say that one's up there. The living in water when you can't breathe it.
Yeah.
That may be it actually.
That's the worst.
Yeah. Also, like all of the things that can have done that are like big charismatic species that get all this funding. It's like
but they're also like some of the smartest.
Yeah, it's like I don't particularly care for that though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Intelligence isn't one of your
it's envy.
It's envy, yeah.
I envy their intelligence.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
But you don't like them for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate what I can't understand.
Yeah, that's a very human trait.
Yeah,
isn't it?
There you go.
That's our evolutionary trait there. That's the one I hate the most, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there
hating what you don't understand.
Join Multicultural Australia for this year's Refugee Week celebration with a powerful screening of Io Capitano. Experience the gripping journey of two boys fleeing Senegal in search of freedom. One night only, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. at Le Boîte Theatre. Tickets are just $11.20 plus booking fee. Visit leboite.com.au. Multicultural Australia, it's who we are. Proudly sponsored by Brisbane City Council and our refugee and migrant communities. Multicultural Australia is a proud sponsor of 4ZZZ.
Right now we have on the line Dr. Brett Lewis from the QUT. Brett is a postdoctoral research fellow at QUT and a researcher for the Reef Restoration and Adaptation program. Thank you very much, Brett, for joining us.
Oh, you're very well welcome.
So you and your team have developed a sustainable mesh to stabilise coral reefs. What is the issue with that you're trying to solve?
So it's kind of twofold, So obviously we have, climate changes coming in. It's impacting our coral reefs. This causes a lot of bleaching and die-off. Mm-hmm. Those corals that are dying, they have to go somewhere. So their skeletons have to go somewhere. And what it's doing is it's creating large coral rubble patches. Now, the rubble patches are, normal on a coral reef, but because we have more of these die-off events, we're getting larger rubble patches. And in these rubble patches, corals can't regrow. So we need to stabilise those rubble patches and think of it like the rubble, like sticks or marbles. Corals can't grow on a moving substrate that's constantly moving around, and that's what the rubble is, a substrate that the coral can no longer regrow on.
Right.
So our corals, they struggle to come back.
It's a rolling stone gathers no moss type of situation.
Yeah, kind of thing. Exactly.
Okay, so what is the meshes there then to stabilise it?
Yeah, so essentially what we want to do is that these processes are already in place, around the world, in Indonesia, the Caribbean, Malaysia. What they use is often just, a plastic mesh that you could get from Bunnings, or metal meshes, or, chicken wire for a chicken coop.
Oh, right.
And they put it down over the rubble, and that stops it from moving. And then organisms can come in and bind it together, and you don't need it. But the thing is, they're carbon-heavy materials, they're plastic-based materials, so they're contributing to the problem. So we've come up with a replacement for that.
Okay, so what makes it sustainable?
So the vast majority of the material is made from either plant waste, so anything you can get from a sugar mill farm, or any type of plant farm, really. So agriculture. And it's also made of other minerals that you would just find in your backyard dirt.
Okay. And you've made it into a glue or putty?
Yeah, so we first made an adhesive, and then we started playing around with that adhesive. As you do as scientists, we explore things. And we started creating some that were more sticky, some that were harder, some that were less sticky, just to see what they would do. And we realised that we could start replacing some plastics. And we were initially going to help stick out corals using this adhesive, and we still do with our materials. But now we've started creating these meshes as well, so we can do both.
Yeah, okay. So how's the mesh deployed? Do you go to the coral reef and shoot a big net over it, or...? Yeah, no, not quite. So what we kind of do is, to start off with, so we did our last trip was in Indonesia, and these were hand-installed to start off with. So basically we create large meshes, and then the divers go down and install them. So it's a bit slow, but it's relatively fast compared to a lot of other processes. But what we intend on doing in the future is having foldable versions of these meshes, so you can put them down like origami. You think you've got your swan and the boat. You can actually fold certain things in ways that they unfold themselves. Okay.
So the idea would be to create this mesh. It's nice and flexible, and we drop the package of mesh down on the reef. It unfolds itself onto these rubble patches, so we don't actually have to handle it. Right.
So how much is this needed for, say, a place like the Great Barrier Reef? Are we going to have to mesh the whole reef eventually, or...?
No, look, these are always subsets of an environment, you know. The Great Barrier Reef is struggling. It's nowhere near where it used to be in its diversity and health, and it will probably continue to deteriorate, unfortunately. But where there's deterioration, there's going to be more and more rubble generation. And while on the Great Barrier Reef, this isn't a huge concern for an immediate threat, but we know that these events are going to continue to happen. So we know that we need to have these solutions in place, you know, basically holstered, ready to go. And there are places like Indonesia and Malaysia and the Caribbean and all around the world, really, that already have these problems. So we're testing them there so we can bring them back here to Australia so we can deploy here.
Right. So these are reactionary uses. So you wouldn't use it on a reef that's still intact but like might have a problem in the future. This is only on reefs that are already crumbling.
Yeah, it's once they meet a certain threshold where we don't believe that they're resilient enough to come back after a bleaching event, we can go in, we can intervene, and we can lay down these meshes or any other solutions we come up with as well. And hopefully these solutions can be integrated into, you know, other solutions. So I don't know if your audience has heard of like coral seeding and coral fragment outplanting, which is where we take corals and we stick them out on the reef and they grow into new colonies. And the seeding we use, basically we capture coral spawn and then we relocate it out to reef sites that are degraded. But of course you can't attach something to an unstable substrate, and this seeding mechanism won't work with the substrates not stable. So by stabilising the substrate in these degraded environments, we can accelerate that recovery process as a twofold or two-pronged approach, really.
Yeah. Bringing
corals there, stabilising rubble.
Yeah, right. So there are like other efforts to re-establish reefs. In our backyard here, we've got the Ozfish robust oyster basket things that are used in the Moreton Bay. So should the stabilising mesh be used for that instead of oyster baskets, or where do you stand on that?
Well, it's not something that we've explored yet, but we are exploring different avenues for our bioadhesives and our biomaterials. So the mesh is really great, but we can create anything. The mesh just kind of works for the coral reef at the moment for the rubble, but we can create boxes out of this thing, we can create pyramids, we can create any type of structure that has form and shape. So if there are restoration methods that, you know, require these forms and shape, we have a sustainable material that they can be made out of. So it could work for the oyster basket case, but we haven't explored that yet. But we will be deploying some of our work, hopefully with seaweed and kelp in the future as well, down in Tasmania. We'll be using it to regrow kelp fields.
Oh, right. Okay. How does that work? Do you, like, lay down the mesh and it have the seeds of kelp in it, or how does that work?
That's pretty much it. So there's an existing method where they're trying to replace it, to regrow kelp, and that's where they essentially put down, they cover rocks in the pollen of kelp.
Okay.
And so they throw that over the side of the boat, the rock goes down, kelp grow from it. But again, it's like rubble, right? Those pieces, they move around, and kelp can't grow if it's moving around. So in come our adhesives that can either replace the rock completely and stick to the surface, or we can stick those rocks down, allowing them to have some stability early on so the kelp can take over and grow in that space.
It sounds like a great method for re-establishing some of our lost or crumbling marine infrastructure, I guess. What's the next step for this sustainable mesh?
Well, there's a lot of steps, actually. We're looking at different mechanisms. Obviously, we're looking at full colony attachment and the fragment attachment. We've got partners in the Red Sea, Malaysia, Indonesia. But our most important one that we really want to which we're putting ourselves into 100%, is working here on the Great Barrier Reef, where we'll be deploying these meshes and our bioadhesives at scale for the first time in the next 6 months. So while we're getting our results back from Indonesia, we're seeing that we're getting great results and everything's working very well. Now we've got to apply that to the Great Barrier Reef. We'll work alongside the Australian government and, of course, the Australian Institute of Marine Science and some local practitioners and tourism companies to deploy these methods as a part of their attempts to maintain their own reefs. So we're excited about getting to help the Great Barrier Reef more directly.
Yeah, fantastic. If our listeners want to know more, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me at QUT. You'll find me on QUT's website. Just email me, of course. But you can also just email any one of our team. Our team will be on there and they'll all be our contact details. I'm obviously a postdoctorate, but there are others that are higher up than me running the show. So you can contact them as well. So if you want to just know more about it, or you want to collaborate, or you see a new way for us to deploy the method or our mechanisms that we haven't seen, we try our best, certainly reach out.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, thanks very much, Brett, for joining us.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me.
That was Dr. Brett Lewis from QUT. Brett is a postdoctoral research fellow at QUT and a researcher for the Reef Restoration and Adaptation Program.
Your weekly dose of science on 4ZZZ is now available as a podcast.
I learned that you can hear the difference between different water temperatures when they're poured. I'm going to pour one after the other into a different glass, and you have to tell me which one is which temperature. I've got a hot and a cold. Right, here's the first one. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm saying cold.
It sounds cool, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Here's the second one. Well played.
Shut up. Search No Idea 4ZZZ on your favourite podcasting app. That's spelled KNOW, like Kano Idea. It's a visual pun on an audio platform. I don't know why we did it.
Attention local brands, bands and businesses. Are you sick of advertising on Facebook? Ever wish there was a better way to get the word out about your amazing products or services? Hit up 4ZZZ. We've got our finger on the pulse of the local community. We can get your message out there to the people who need to hear it with the help of our sponsorship campaigns. Want to know more? Hit up sponsorship at 4zzz.org.au for details. That's sponsorship at 4zzz.org.au. We help you spread the word and you help us keep community radio alive. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win.
Win.
You get to keep hearing our lovely voices on the radio, and you get to go in the running to win prizes.
What's the prize this month?
This month, if you subscribe this month, you can go in the running to win a Garage Sounds Record Store $200 gift certificate, which what do they say when your subscriber, the lovely subscriber, just went in the running to win, Lynn from Alderley. Thank you very much, Lynn.
Also, want to give a shout out to Isabel from No Idea, who just bought a sticker. They are in Red Hill. Go and dox them.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that at all. But another great reason to become a subscriber to 4ZZZ, not only do you get the warm inner glow that you would from subscribing, you can also get discounted tickets to the fantastic 4ZZZ Z50 gigs. So there's going to be a multitude of gigs and talks and tours and all sorts of different things. We might even do a Bushcare.
Maybe.
Do another Bushcare. And, you get discounted tickets to them, although the Bushcare will be free.
Yeah.
But the big one is coming up at the Z50 show happening in Roma Street Parklands in October. With bands like the Saints, 73 to 78, which would be amazing. Tropical F-Storm, Full Flower Moon Band, Butterfingers. It's going to be a huge gig. Regurgitator. That's coming up next. Is the Sound Over the Fence That's going to have the Blankets and Evil Dick Industries, Fat Shelley, and Ghost Mudder back again.
Oh.
Yeah, so Tape Off is going to be there. It's going to be great.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a great year for big gigs. And if you're a subscriber, you'll be able to get early bird and discount tickets to all those.
Worth it.
Yeah.
If you buy enough, if you buy one subscription, it could offset the cost of, or like you save as much as you get from. But if
you could do, yeah.
If you go to all of them, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the subscription tiers that we can go for?
So you can subscribe for a pet or under 18-year-old. They're pretty much the same thing, and they are $25 each. It doesn't even have to be a pet. It can be
anything.
Something that you find in the backyard. It could be a velvet worm.
Yeah, you've been on the lookout for velvet worms?
When we made that video, I didn't know there were velvet worms in southeast Queensland. I just thought it was a cool animal to mention, but apparently there are.
Yeah, so you've been trying to find some.
Yeah, I went out Sunday looking for them, but no such luck. But there will be a time I will flick up the right log that contains a velvet worm underneath it.
That'd be sick.
But you can also get $80 for a full subscription, or if you're passionate about 4ZZZ, it's $140. That one you get a tote bag and a cool shirt with as
tea in the
well.
tote.
And if you want to be super, you can subscribe for $500, get your name up on the wall downstairs. But there's a heap of other things that you can subscribe for, like a household band, etc.
Yeah.
And I want to mention as well that it is a yearly subscription rather than a monthly subscription.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just to clarify, because I think with most subscription models, it's monthly at this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
well, we don't do that here. We're all year round.
Yeah.
24/7. Always here, always
yapping, talking.
And one of the greatest things about becoming a subscriber is you get to be a volunteer. You then have the choice to go on and volunteer. And there's not a better time to volunteer for 4ZZZ than it is right now, this being the 50th birthday. It's like, there's going to be so much happening. We're going to need all hands on deck. Like,
it's only less than 6 months away from the proper 50th birthday as well. We're almost there.
Yeah.
And almost at 50 years of Eco Radio too then.
Yeah.
Not long after that.
Yeah, not long after that. We're 49th birthday is this year.
Yeah.
So next year 50 for Eco Radio. The Environment and Peace radio show on 4ZZZ.
The longest running and the best.
Yeah.
And the oldest.
And it might be the most important soon, because the world is collapsing into another world war state.
Yeah.
Although Anthony Albanese said that Australia won't get involved in Middle East conflict, we'll see what happens. I don't put much trust into politicians.
Yeah, I think there's certainly like the concern for Australia to be involved with it, because every war since World War II that the US has been involved in, Australia has been involved in. And as we saw with like Iraq, Australia was the only other state other than the US that actually went and fought in it. Then there was, even at the end of the Korean War, Australia got involved with that. Vietnam, obviously, and this is largely based on Australia seeing the United States as a protectorate state.
Yeah.
So the United States is Australia's security guarantor, essentially.
Yeah, if it can be considered trusted.
Yeah, but
I mean,
at least historically,
the USA was supposed to be Ukraine's security guarantor as well.
Yeah, historically it has been, at least, and Australia has held this fear of abandonment regarding like what you would call its great and powerful friends, where Australia is not the biggest or strongest nation, obviously, so they need to have like those ties with bigger states. So previously it was the United Kingdom, since World War II it's been the United States, but Australia has this fear of abandonment because during World War II there were Australian soldiers who were fighting with the British over in Europe, and then when Japan started expanding and Singapore fell and they made it to Indonesia, there were some like the Australian soldiers in Europe the Australian Prime Minister, John Curtin, at the time, wanted them to be brought back, but the British said no. Winston Churchill said no to defend Australia. And that kind of spooked Australia at the time into not having, making sure that they do have these strong ties with people around them, or other states around them, I should say, just so they can guarantee their safety.
Yeah, which isn't a guarantee anyway.
Not anymore.
Or ever was, yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be... I don't want to say it'll be interesting.
No. It's actually pretty scary.
It is very scary, yeah. But obviously, the US has been chasing a bit more of an isolationist policy where they're not involved with the other states as much this day and age as they were under the Biden administration. And even with AUKUS recently, I think that deal's been put under question as well, whether the US might withdraw from that one.
Yeah.
That was announced earlier this week or last week, something along those lines.
Hopefully give back that money.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice if they would.
Yeah.
Which I doubt.
Are you looking to hide large sums of money this tax season? Cayman Islands are a little too far away?
Make an iffy donation this iffy and support independent community radio while you're at it.
No mega yachts, no taxman drama, just good, honest community radio.
Head to support.4ZZZ.org.au to make an iffy, that's an end of financial year donation today.
You are listening to Eco Radio, the radio of the future. Thank you, small child. And you are listening to 4ZZZ, 102.1 FM. We just heard then from Sunny Coast Rude Boys with Land Down Under. Before that was Butterfingers with Mandarin, and Jungaji was before that with Waka Waka Woman. We're almost done for the day, but there is one thing that we still have to do.
What is it?
It's called the Bushcare Roundup.
Oh.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds, and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
This is the Bushcare Roundup, our weekly roundup of all things environmental and peace that you can volunteer with this week or this weekend. And kicking off on Thursday at 8:30 in the morning is the Sea Slug survey in the Rocky Shores down at John Laws Park in Burleigh Heads. I went to that one time. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was about to swear because of how good it was. But walking around those rock pools and with experts being able to point out oh, that's a snow eel, or that's a nudibranch.
Is a snow eel a kind of slug? Or
no,
it's
a type of eel. There was a little white eel in the rock pools, and every time I go to the rock pool normally, I don't see anything.
Yeah,
but because I've got experts there with expert eyes, they're very good at helping you see things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. But yeah, that's 8:30 tomorrow morning if you've got time. 6:30 on Saturday, you can go to the Shelley Road Park Birdwalk. That's at Lake Manchester Road in Kholo. At 9 o'clock on Saturday, you can go to the Save Woogaroo Forest Walk. That's happening at Opossum Creek Dog Park in Brookwater. At 9 o'clock as well, you can go to the Gold Coast Environmental Festival. That's happening at Broadbeach Cultural Centre in Broadbeach Waters. Also at 9 o'clock, a lot of 9 o'clocks, you can go to the Backing Onto the Bush workshop. That's happening at Brisbane Koala Bushlands in Burbank. And 2 o'clock, you can go to the Arnwood Place Bushcare Working Bee. That's at Bar Street Park in Tarragindi.
From 8 till 10 on Sunday the 22nd, there is the Rose Glen Street Working Bee, and that one is at Rose Glen Street, surprisingly, in Greenslopes. And then at 8:15 till 11 a.m. on Sunday the 22nd, there's the Archfield Wetlands Community Planting. That one, surprisingly, at Archfield Wetlands in Durack.
Yeah, nice. Which one of those are you going to go to?
It's a tough choice because I finish work at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. respectively on Saturday and Sunday morning.
So you're going to go to one of the early mornings, you're just going to power through, no sleep?
Get me a couple of Gatorades and I'll be right to go. Ideally, I think the Save Woogaroo Forest one, we had a chat with them earlier this year.
Yep.
Essentially, Woogaroo Forest is under threat from housing developments. It's not national park, and it's a nice area in a fair bit of urbanised space out in Ipswich. It's home to a number of iconic species like your echidna, greater gliders, and under threat from housing development at the moment.
I saw something recently that said that they found an echidna in Indonesia.
Did they?
Yeah. Which I thought was surprising because I only thought they were in Papua New Guinea, unless they're counting West Papua as Indonesia.
That's
territorial,
like at an international level, that is considered Indonesia.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but free West Papua though.
Yeah.
That's all we have for you today. And thank you everyone to listening in.